Alright, so factors and greatest common factor. First thing we're going to do in this lesson is look at factors, so we're going to make factor trees. Okay, so if I look at the number 60, what are two numbers I can multiply to get to 60?
30
and 2. Okay, can I break down 2 any further?
No.
No, 2 is a prime number, it's done once it's done. Okay, 15 and
12. 2.
2. Okay, we just decided we can't break down 2 any longer. Okay, what about 15?
7.5.
What are two numbers that multiply to 15? 5 and 3. Okay, can I break down 5 any further? What about 3? No. Okay, so then I'm going to write down my factors as a factor tree. The numbers I circled are the only ones I care about because those are my primes. Okay, so I think 5 times a 3 times a 2. How many 2's do I have? 2. So times 2 squared. This is my factors then.
Is that the answer?
That's the answer. Okay. So let's look at the number 40. What are two numbers I can multiply to get to 40? 20 and 2. Okay. We know that 2 is done when it's done. What about 20? 10 and 2. And 5 and 2. Alright, so the numbers I have are 5 and 2. How many 5's do I have? How many 5's do I have? 1. How many 2's do I have? 3. The number of 2's you have becomes your exponent. So we have 3 2's, so that's my exponent of 3. I only had 1 5, so I don't have to put anything. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. Then let's look at 33. What are two numbers I multiply to get to 30? 11 and 3. Can I break down 3 any further? What about 11? Nope. So 33 is just 11 times 3. Okay, we're done. Okay, so let's do one more. 19.
12 and
19 and 1.
19 and 1. Okay, that's the only way I can do it, right? And we talked about yesterday when you were doing your pre-test. What do we call a number that can only multiply by itself in 1? Prime. Okay, so 19 is prime. So I can't put anything for it, so I just write down prime. Make sense? Okay.
Wow.
Not so bad. Not so bad. I know that my fifth, I was like, really only one person? I'm like, well, she hasn't already taken the test yet, and she'll get it. I was like, she'll pass it, which means you guys will just really suck. And they're like, oh, okay. Like, no, because it'll be all of my 7th hour that passed, and you guys will still be at like 50%. So now we're going to look at breaking down two numbers and finding our greatest common factor. Before we were just finding our factors. Now we're going to find our greatest common factor. So what are numbers that can go on with 24? 12 and 2. Okay, what about 12? 6 and 2. Okay, what about 6? 3 and 2. Okay. Alright, what about 60 then? 30 and 2. 15 and 2. 5 and 3. Okay. What are my numbers that they have in common? They have a 2 in common. Okay. They have a 3 in common.
and have
2. And they have another 2 in common. Very good, Niles. So my GCF is 2 times 3 times 2. What's 2 times 3 times 2? 12. Smarty. Dealing with a bunch of geniuses. Alright, so let's look at 18 and 27 then. What are two numbers that can make 18? 9 and 2. Okay, what about 9? 3 and 3. Okay. What are two numbers that make 27? 9 and 3. Okay, 3 and 3. Alright, so then what do they have in common? 3, and then they have another 3, and 3 times 3 is 9. Very good, 9. Saved you a little better. Make sense? Yes? We're following? Okay, you want to, okay. So then the last thing we're going to look at is ones that include letters, because algebra is all about our letters, right? That's what makes algebra. Okay. So 3x cubed and 6x squared. We're going to do the same thing, except our first step is always to split our numbers and our letters. Okay, that's always the first place you split it. You put your numbers on one side, letters on the other. Okay, so x cubed, how many x's does that tell me I have?
3.
So I have 3 x's. That's the first thing I know. Can I break down 3 any further? No. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing over here then. And break down a 6 and x squared. How many x's do I have? 2. Can I break down 6? 3 and 2. Okay. So what numbers do they have in common? 3. And x and x. So x and x. And how do I simplify that then? 3x to the second. Perfect. So your greatest common factor is 3x to the second. Good. We love easy. Alright. So I break down 4 and x squared. Break down 4 into 2 and 2. And 2 x's. Okay. 5 and y cubed. Can I break down 5? How many y's do I have? They have nothing in common. So we have no greatest common factor. It's like kind of like being prime, except they're prime to each other. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. Alright. 18 and g squared. 18 is 9 and 2. 9 is 3 and 3. I have 2 g's. Alright, 27 and g cubed. How many g's do I have?
3.
What do I break down 27 as? 9 and 3 and 3 and 3. So they have 2 3's in common. So 3 times 3 and 2 g's in common. So g times g. There you go, 9g squared. Yay! Okay. So you guys are going to work on 459, 1 through 30.
First 2 slides. Oh, I thought that's like 1 through 30.
No, 1 through 30. Alright, so 1 through 30.